Welcome to Compassion Speaks, where we give a voice to the nonprofits in the community. I'm your host, Stephanie Player, and today on our show we have Big Joe Matthews, the Community Services Director, and Jason Tate of Tate's Auto Group. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you. Hi.
Thank you for coming. I'm excited to have you guys come on and talk today about your annual huge food drive that you guys do every year that benefits the White Mountain community. So we'll go ahead and jump right into things and kind of find out maybe a little bit of history. How long has this been going on, and how does this whole function work that you guys do every year?
Well, this is our doing it to the level that we're doing it. It's going to be our 6th year, and we've always done something small, but now it's grown to the point where, last year the people up here donated 366,000 pounds of food.
Wow.
Which was our biggest ever. So it's kind of taken on a new life of its own, because now we have, it's not just us, it's Frontier is helping us out with it. The firefighters have been awesome they do a lot of the lifting and picking up boxes and stuff like that. So them, the White Mountain Rotary Club, Cell One. So there's a lot of different companies that have kind of joined our deal, which is what's helped it get big. Basically what we do is we have these big cardboard boxes. They're at all of our dealerships, which we have 2 in Show Low, 1 in Holbrook, 1 in Winslow, and then 1 all the way over in Gallup, New Mexico. But we put them there, and then whoever basically will take a box, we'll put them everywhere. So right now I think we have between 500 and 600 boxes out there.
Wow.
And we make more, we get more every week. So so people can either do one of 2 things. They can come in and just to the dealership between 8 and 6 and drop off any kind of dried food or canned goods. And then the other way, a lot of people don't have the time to jump in the car and load up boxes and stuff. If they want, when somebody donates $1, it's almost the same as buying $6 worth of food, the way that they work this program. So wow. A lot of people just will do a monetary donation. And so really that's kind of what it's not always what you think of as the food drive. Like I came home last night and we had no canned food because my 12-year-old son just decided to not tell us and take all of his food to school. Yeah. So, but another way, if you give even $10, $5, that will get somebody, I don't know. I think what they said is every pound of food is equivalent to a meal for a family. So that's kind of their ratio of how it works. So, and if you're thinking $1 gets you $6 worth of food, it's almost just as good to give money too. And a lot of people don't know that about the food drive.
Well, that's a really good point to make too, to make it a lot easier for people who want to get involved. That, again, like you said, they don't want to make a special trip out to the grocery store to go and get those non-perishable items, but they would like to still contribute in some way. And
yeah.
What an easier way to do that. I mean, $10 even can go so far.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing that we kind of added into this year is if people just want to call us, and really, Joe, the reason that we kind of do these things, a lot of people, just like you said, can't get out or whatever. We will come even to your house, pick up whatever you have, or your place, whatever you have. Joe will come out and get it. I'll come out and get it. Any employee that we can find will come out and grab whatever you have. So basically, it's from now until December 15th. And that gives us enough time to get, everything organized. So, we have Thanksgiving part of it, and then you have, Christmas right after. So, really, anytime, anywhere, we'll make it work somehow.
Awesome. Well, and I'm just amazed, I know that your guys' goal just keeps going up and up and up each year as the community continues to go over and above what you guys expect each and every year. So
yeah.
What was your goal last year?
Last year we were trying to just hit 300. and we went to 366.
That's amazing.
But we know what that took, and so this year we're a little bit modest at 400, but I think if with the new partners that we have, plus everybody focusing on it, because a lot of times we found that we had a school the other day that called and said, hey, we're doing a food drive for student council, but they didn't have any boxes, they didn't have anything like that. So we ended up having them join in. So we're getting all these new people, and it's kind of all combining into one big food drive, which I think, probably is what gets it as big as it is.
Right.
I mean, because I don't think we know how much work it is. I mean, it's, renting U-Hauls and taking all this food everywhere. It's a lot of work. But like I said, if it weren't for the firefighters and all these other people helping us, it would never get to be that big. So anybody that really wants to get involved, we'll take any help we can get.
Well, and even if they want to be able to have a box at their facility, at
Sure.
their location, to help be one of those just points where people
Yeah.
can go and drop that stuff off would be a way to get involved as well. So, Big Joe, tell me, I mean, this is so community oriented, and I really like how all of this is kind of coming together with so many different entities getting involved. What can you tell me about the food drive that has changed over the years and that is different this year that the community can hear about today, our viewers?
So I'm a little bit new to the whole food drive and Tate Still, but what gets me excited is just local people getting involved, and just, people really care about each other, and you can see it especially in our small communities, the Shoalo, Snowflake, Round Valley, the all around surrounding communities. We always seem to help each other out, and the food drive is a good way to show, that we still are human and we still care about each other. And one thing that does get us excited at Tate's is if you bring in canned food when you come in for service or anything like that, we're going to do 10% discount on anything. And then for every car that we sell for the next couple months, we're doing a cash donation. So if we sell 100 cars, that's a pretty good cash donation, So
Awesome.
that's one thing that we're excited about at the company.
That's amazing. There's so many different incentives to get people involved and wanting to contribute to this and help to make it even bigger this year as it was last year and the year
Absolutely.
before that.
Even one can, if you can only bring one can, bring one can, and it doesn't matter how much you bring.
Right.
There's no donations too small.
Well, and I think what you hit on too of the community really coming together. We have such an amazing community up here in the White Mountains that when people see a need and like you also mentioned too, you have all these entities now coming together to really help to make this community, to serve the community and to help to fill this need that we know is there. We know that there are people that need this, and they go to the same schools as our children. We work alongside of them. We drive alongside of them on the streets up here. So it's important for us to care for our neighbors. And thank you guys so much for starting this up from the get-go and keeping that momentum going and building over the years. I think it's just astounding what you guys have done.
Yeah, we started it and did it, but it takes the community and the local people to keep it going, and we can't donate 400,000 pounds of food on our own.
Right.
So it takes everybody.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that kind of happened just organically was all of a sudden you had other cities and towns get involved, and that even grew it. It just kind of snowballs. So, Joe's from Snowflake and Taylor, and he just went in and kind of took over that whole town, and now we have boxes everywhere there. So, and last year we didn't have near as many as we had there. So 400,000 might be shooting low, like I said, but anything over that'll be great, because I think we did a pretty good job last year. So I can't imagine anybody going hungry if we get 400,000 pounds.
Oh no.
So.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads me to where this is going next is, where does this food go? I know that you guys have this huge network of all the local food banks up here that ultimately this food ends up at those food banks to help to serve the populations that food bank serves.
Our main partner is United Food Bank, right? And then they kind of direct us to different smaller food banks. And that's another thing that, without their help, I mean, they kind of, coach you on how to do these and how to have them be successful. So they kind of, you know, just say, look, if you get us the food, we'll make sure it gets to the right places.
I think that, and we'll have on the end of the show, we'll have all of the list of the local food banks in case there is somebody watching that says, you know, that's something that me and my family could really use during this time of year.
Sure.
Because ultimately, you know, that's what your goal is to really help to support those who are less fortunate or are in times of need. So is there anything else that you guys would like to kind of chat about to help raise awareness on what it is how you guys are so integrated into the community?
Well, another thing that we kicked off last year that has been probably one of the best things that we've ever done is we joined with Frontier Communications in it's kind of a national program that basically kids at all schools in the area can nominate their teachers for an award that's given out every month. And we opened it up to all of our area, Snowflake, Taylor, Holbrook, Winslow, Gallup. This year we expanded it to Springerville, St. John's, Round Valley, and even White River. And these kids are doing a really good job of nominating, you know, outstanding educators. And then once a month, they send in all their nominations, and then we will pick, along with another panel, the teachers that we think did the best job of, you know, educating their students. And then that teacher gets $500, and that goes right to them, because we know that these teachers usually pay for most of their supplies they have to buy.
Right.
So, you know, it's small, but it is something that, you know, kind of gets everybody excited about it, and the kids love it. So,
Oh,
to
that
this
is
point.
awesome. And that's going all the way through
The
to
whole
the end of the
school year.
school year. Wow. And so they just have to go, we'll put the website at the bottom of the screen, but they just have to go to the website and fill out the information and
Yep.
nominate their teacher and explain why their teacher deserves to win.
They actually write a
basically.
little letter.
Awesome.
It's cool to read the letters and see what the kids think of the teachers and all the good things they've done for them.
Oh, how
Yeah.
cool. And what an awesome way to really help to kind of give back to the teachers, because they do so much for the
Yeah.
kids. And like you said, it comes out of their own pocket.
Yeah.
So give them some money back, especially right now, you know, during the
Exactly.
holidays. Could really help them out with their families. Well, amazing. You guys have such interesting ways that you have gotten involved with the community to really help out in so many different facets. And again, at the end, we'll have all of the information on how people can both get involved with the Giving Back to the Teachers program, and then also with the food drive as well.
Great.
And I just can't thank you enough for coming and
Oh,
talking
thank you.
about this
Thank you
today.
guys.
And we'll definitely have you back to kind of hear about anything else that you guys have coming up in the future. So
Sounds good.
thank you again. And thank you. We will stay tuned here. We'll be right back with our next guest. Welcome back to Compassion Speaks. Joining us now on the show is Byron Lewis, the navigator with North Country Healthcare. Welcome, Byron.
Good to be here, Stephanie. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, of course. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to have you. And I'm thrilled because we talked a few months ago I can't remember which month it was, which episode it was, but it was less than a year ago about this program that you are the navigator for within North Country Healthcare. So I am curious to see not only how it's gone over the last few months, but also where it's ultimately leading to. So we'll go ahead and jump into things as I, get way ahead of myself here and find out, okay, what is a navigator? What is it that you do?
I think the easiest way to describe that is I help people know what their options are under the Affordable Care Act to give them the best information so they can make wise decisions for their family, so they can have a healthier outcome. The Affordable Care Act, there's a lot to learn in there. And going through the web page, if you haven't had a lot of experience or some computer skills, it can be a daunting task. I mean, so many of these people feel they're so close to insurance, and they get out there on the web and, what do I do now?
Right.
And so we help them get through that.
That's awesome. And that's a lot of people may think, well, you know, how busy do you really stay with that? Is that a pretty busy gig? I understand it is pretty busy. Tell me about that. How many people have you guys been reaching out to over the last few months?
You know, as an entity, since the Affordable Care Act started back in 2014, North Country's enrolled over 12,000 people in our footprint from Bullhead City on the California-Nevada border, Arizona, all the way over to Round Valley. Personally, myself, I've traveled about 70,000 miles.
Wow.
I've done, last count, it was about 250 presentations. I've talked to 250,000 people.
Wow.
And as I've traveled across Arizona, let me put this in perspective. In the United States, there's 3,007 counties. Arizona has, I think, about 15. 4 of our counties are in the top 11, and they're all in my territory. My territory is larger than some European countries. And as I've gone through and visited with all of these people that I've talked to in rural Arizona, I've learned some pretty amazing things. I've learned that Arizonans are resilient. I've also found out that there's not one person I talked to who didn't want to have health coverage, and that they all were interested in having a better healthy outcome for their family. Now, how they were to get to that destination, there were different roads in the journey, but that's where they all wanted to be.
And they just didn't know how to get there.
You'd think that many people were out there trying to cheat the system, and there's some. You run into them all the time. But the vast majority of the people that I have talked to are willing to pay. They just want to have something that will give them insurance for their family. They're not trying to milk the system. They don't come in. They don't lie. Like I say, there's some of them that do, but the vast majority of them, by far, no way.
And that's something that with all of the miles that you've been traveling and being able to interact with all of these different families and head of households that are coming in and like you said, you know, they want health insurance because that fear of not being able to provide for your family, if something were to happen, if your child were to get sick, if you were to get injured in some way, how would you be able to take care of that? That's a valid fear.
I think you sum it up really well. Imagine as a single parent, and I see this all the time, there is no way to describe the fear that happens when they wake up in the morning wondering, you know, what if I'm going to miss work for a week? Or if my child breaks an arm or a leg at school, or they need to have their tonsils out, or, you know, something worse happens. You know, how am I going to cover that?
Right.
Through the Affordable Care Act or other insurance options that are out there like Access, they have some choices. And that's all that we do, is I give them their options. I get political flack on this all the time. In my mind, the Affordable Care Act is no longer a political issue, it's now a health care issue. It's been enacted as the law, and it was been challenged in the Supreme Court, it's been upheld. But between now and whatever's out there, how this ends up, wouldn't you like to know what your options are under the law so that you can make the best decisions for your family?
Right. And this is a completely free service that is
Completely
provided
free.
by
I don't get
North
a
Country
kick.
Healthcare.
I don't get a kickback. There's no referral fee, and I can make you this commitment: I will never tell you what policy you should or should not get, because nobody knows your business better than you do.
Right. But being able to explain it, and I think that's what's been so overwhelming for those of the population that have yet to be signed up under the Affordable Care Act, under whatever insurance they qualify for, is that fear of, I don't understand it, I don't know what option is best for me and my family, you know, I don't know what this terminology means. There's so much confusion, and sometimes it just gets put to the back burner, because if you are a single parent family and you're the one that's working full-time, multiple jobs maybe, that it gets pushed back and pushed back. But you're saying that this is something that you can help navigate them through, so that way you can explain all of the options that they're qualified for based on the information they provide, and then help them to kind of navigate through and see what they feel would be best for them.
We show them what the policies that are out there and what they may qualify for. And then we show them what's called an SBC, it's a Summary Benefits and Coverage, and let them take that home and they make their own decisions. It's been really interesting. In Arizona, primarily, I've found that women make the healthcare decisions. In my house, I'm the navigator. I mean, I go back to DC and I work with all these different organizations, and my wife makes all the health decisions in our family, no doubt, and she does a great job. And I find that true in these other homes. So we're talking to them about things like deductibles and co-pays and what their premiums are going to be and what their out-of-pocket expenses could be. And I've seen some people come in that have had very high premiums, no doubt. But I've seen some that have come in that are paying $9, $34, $55 a month. What I've also found out too, and this is mind-boggling, 90% of Americans don't know when open enrollment begins. It started November 1, it's going to end January 31st.
Of 2016.
Of 2016.
Okay.
And if you don't have health insurance, guess what happens to you this year?
You're getting a penalty.
And this penalty is significant. It's got some serious teeth. A family of 3, 2 adults and a child, if they don't have insurance, when they go to fill out their taxes, the minimum penalty, that they're going to be paying is $1,737.50.
Wow.
In our area here, this is why this is important in rural Arizona. Navajo County is the 85th poorest county in America. Apache County is the 7th poorest county in America. So when you take that $1,737.50 right out of the tax return for these people, that is school clothes, that's lunch money, that could be a vacation, that's 3 months of car payments, 4 months of rent.
Right.
You know, this is a really big impact.
Yeah.
And many of them are close. And if they don't find something on the marketplace, perhaps they'll qualify for access.
Right. Well, and that's something too, that going through the Marketplace website and keying in the information that it requests from you ultimately tells you both your options within the Marketplace itself as well as for Medicaid type options too.
Now, at North Country, if they want to come see us, we take all these insurances, and that's great for a soft landing. But some of them have a doctor they already like.
Right.
Or they're in an area where it might be more convenient to go somewhere else. That's fine. The thing for us here is this is part of our community outreach, way to give something back.
Right.
You know, we're less concerned where you go to get health care, so long as you're getting good health care, provided that you're getting health insurance coverage.
Right. Well, and I think that for those who are still kind of on that fence, they haven't taken that leap yet into trying to figure out what their options are and exploring those options. Again, it's maybe gone to the back burner.
Yeah.
This is something that all they have to do is contact North Country Healthcare. If they need any help, they can either make an arrangement to speak with
Sure.
you, the navigator, and this is,
Or,
you know,
or anyone in our staff. We have 14 clinics, and each of them have 1 or 2 or some 3 individuals there that can help them do the enrollments.
wow, and that's awesome, you know, because I think that a lot of people, whenever they hear, okay, so there's no strings attached, they're not going to tell me what to do, they're literally just there to help me out, they want to be able to help me and my family, to know what is available out there. I think that is, that will appeal to a lot of families up here that still haven't made that change.
Would you be more likely to go to the doctor if you had insurance?
Oh, absolutely.
How about your kids? Would you take them in for their well visits or their immunizations?
Absolutely.
You know, people that are healthy typically are happier. People that are healthy typically work longer or are able to go to school. They have a better life outcome. And I think that's the thing that drives us. And so when I sit down with these people, the first question that I ask them is, you know, what outcome are you looking for? And the answer is, almost always, is I want to find something that's going to help us be healthy that I can afford. And then I say, great, let's kick the tires. Let's go shopping. A couple of questions. And they're going to ask how old you are. They're going to ask where you live, how much you make. And here's the one no one ever gets, whether or not you use tobacco. Tobacco is not just smoking, it's chewing, the other things.
Right.
But e-cigarettes don't count. Go figure.
Interesting.
So we ask them those questions, we plug this in, and then we say, here you go. Check
So-
this out. I'd pick the one that was best for my family, but nobody knows your business better than you. So here's what this one offers, here's what this one offers. why don't you take this form home, read through it, and call me if you have any questions. We've set your account up. You can register at any time.
And that's awesome. That is amazing because it gives them that time to really be able to go over those options that you've ultimately presented them with, but to really consider how it's going to benefit them. And I'm sorry that we're out of time, Byron. I wish we could talk more, but we are going to have you back because I want to hear more about this. But open enrollment is now all the way through the end of January of 2016.
January 31.
So
yeah.
get enrolled now if you're not enrolled yet. And thank you again so much
Hey,
for joining us.
thank you for having us.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us as well today, and tune in next month to hear Compassion Speak.
The White Mountain Safe House is a private, nonprofit program dedicated to providing shelter, care, and advocacy for victims of domestic violence. If you or anyone you know is in need of services, please contact our 24-hour hotline at 928-367-6017. If you would like to support our organization in any way, please visit our website for more information at wmsafehouse.org.